You can make like sushi rice from the konjac rice and the like cauliflower rice if you like cook it all down. Mix it with a bit of cream cheese. I would use the dairy-free one, and this classic like seasonings, so the vinegar and the salt, and literally just and a little bit of like erythritol if it's just a little bit bitter, and then literally just mix it, chill it. You can roll it into sushi.
I'm gonna have to try. It's just one. It's like one thing I've not explored yet, but I think there's no like I don't think there's any end on possibilities of easy.
Easy. Let me see if there was anything else. Oh, it was still alcohol, but like stay away from wine.
Mm-hmm.
Wine is so high carb. Some of the white wines they're so higher than even for like a small glass. You have like 4 of those, and then one you're probably going to be drunk because keto lowers your alcohol tolerance massively.
Keto was horrendous.
Just awful, isn't it? Like drunk after like 2 glasses.
I'm like my alcohol tolerance at the time was really high because I used to go out quite a bit, especially with like one of my best friends, and I'd literally been on keto for 1 week. Like I started on the Monday, and this is on Friday or the Saturday I go out, and we're just drinking as normal, and I was like, I just don't feel drunk at all, and I genuinely didn't. Like it felt nothing like the previous weeks. And it got to just before we were going out, and it was at the time when I was, still, just post-student, so I was still transitioning from student life to adult life, so still wanting like a cheap night out where you pre-drink so much that you barely need to buy drinks out. And I was just swigging vodka from the bottle, like absolutely no issue. I've never been able to do that. And we walk out. I remember getting to the first place, and I remember nothing after that. I'm told that I've managed to get like a ring of dancers, a ring of cleaners around me, like with their mops and their brushes, like shimmying around in a circle. I'm in the middle of it, like egging everyone on. I was like, I wish I was there because it sounds brilliant. But anyway, we went somewhere else, and then I do remember being there, and I just remember sitting outside, and I threw up in a plant pot, and that was it. I was taken home. But it just hit like nothing before.
And that's the thing, if you, for instance, like you've been on keto for months and then you have a day where you're going out and you're still kind of like doing low carbs, but you want to have alcohol, you have to be prepared that your tolerance is going to be like this much of what it used to be.
Live it, you'll be fine. Jeez.
Imagine though, imagine.
Oh yeah, it's
end up talking to a plant pot, that is.
Oh dear. And I remember waking up and I was just given a Five Guys, but they brought it to me in a lettuce wrap as well, which was really cute. So
that's very sweet.
I guess we've spoken about like the best places to eat out. What about I tell you about one of the worst experiences that I've had eating out, especially on keto, right? So we got a group on a couple of years ago to a place in Sheffield called Surf and Turf. And it's really, really highly reviewed. And we were like, oh, this is amazing. So we got a really nice 3-course meal. The starter came and it was delicious. When I ordered the main, I said, hey, instead of the chips, could I just have like extra salad? And they were like, no, it just comes as it comes. Genuinely, completely got denied, like removing my chips. So I had to actually buy, and I bought in the end, like just a side dish. I just bought buttered cabbage. But they would not substitute chips for anything. And I was like, but it's just a dietary requirement. Like, I just, is there any way? No, you have to. And I was just like,
imagine all if you were allergic to like potatoes.
Yeah, sorry. But I have them on the plate. You can scoot them off. You can, you think you're gonna need it, we'll inject it for you. But I was just outrageous, genuinely outrageous.
The thing is, that wouldn't happen now.
Well, I hope not.
Nah, surely not.
That's the theory. And if he says no, then I'll just eat it and do a runner.
I mean, yeah, like I've had a couple of times where so I've like asked for it without the chips or without the potatoes, and it's still come with them, or it's still come in the bun or whatever. And I think like it can take quite a lot of self-control to actually take that off your plate once it's served to you, and that can be quite hard.
Yeah, completely agree. Like last night we had a Deliveroo and we had shawarma, and I put in the order notes like, can one of them come without the chips and extra salad? Of course it didn't, but thankfully it was in like a separate container and they were really soggy anyway, so I was like, I don't want you soggy chips anyway, so I left like a really crappy review. But yeah, I think one of the shame, like the things which is a shame, like I've done it a lot lately, like noticed it a lot, and I don't know if it's just Deliveroo, because this is the first time I've lived in a Deliveroo hotspot, and it is heaven. Like everything delivers to me. Like I've never had Nando's delivered to my house, and here we are. But yeah, I feel like the restaurants don't read the notes, or they read them and think, sod it.
Can't be bothered. Yeah. Or done it now.
Eat your chips.
Obviously, you know, it comes to the end of the meal and everyone's saying, oh, I want dessert. For me, obviously, like no dairy, strawberries or berries or that kind of, like, that is kind of my option, obviously. But if you're a regular keto, then obviously you could have like cheese or something, or you can have the berries, you can have cream, you can have that kind of thing. But has there been anything that you've had out that was really surprising to be like low carb?
I'm not really a desserty person when it comes to eating out, so I'm probably really not very equipped to answer this.
Or what? So you would just be like, oh no, I don't, like, I'm okay, don't want dessert.
Yeah, and I think as well, like the group of friends that I have, like they're all very aware of like how I eat and the way I eat, and a lot of those as well are like fitness or into fitness and, you know, looking after themselves. So a lot of the time, like we skip dessert. But I mean, like in the past, if I've been like low calorie diets as opposed to low carb, and like I don't plan to go and eat a dessert, but I do, like I allow myself to have it, because like you say, it comes down to if you fancy it at the time, like I can go for it, unless like, you know, you really are being strict for a particular reason, like every time you have a dessert and you're trying to, you know, build that self-control. Like I think it's okay. I think it's completely okay. But yeah,
obviously, like, you know, if you want that dessert, have that dessert. But if there are options available that you would rather have, then obviously, you know, go for that.
100%. Like cheese, like a cheese board is one of my favourite things anyway. Like in there was a pub that I used to go to where I lived in Derby, and they used to have like a cheese board as a starter, or a dessert. So you can actually have 2 cheese boards within one meal, which, to be honest, now sounds an absolute dream. But yeah, I would, especially at Christmas time, like cheese boards always. But
so talking of cheese, that my mum actually has ploughman's when she goes for like a pub lunch, but obviously doesn't have the bread. Yeah. And basically, that's like
salad and pickles, isn't it?
Yeah.
Green.
So that is another easy kind of solution for lunches.
100%. I am like highly intolerant to cheese, which doesn't really suit my needs. I'll eat cheese anyway. I eat a lot of cheese.
Yeah, we have talked about this in a previous episode, that Anna is highly lactose intolerant.
It's just red across the board. If there was ever a food for me not to eat, it would be cheese.
Have you tried like the non-dairy ones?
I've had some of the vegan cheese, and I didn't rate it. I think I need to give it a proper go, because I had the applewood smoked one, and I wasn't in love with that. I'm not in love with that one.
Yeah, the Follow Your Heart one from you can get it on Ocado. Really good. The smoked gouda, yeah. Those slices are really good.
I think as well, one of the misconceptions, so like slightly changing gear, but still within vegan, like one of the misconceptions is like all vegan food is and vegetarian food is high carb, and I think a lot of the early stuff that came out, like the sausages and, you know, like the quark, everything they did pretty much, apart from the mince and chicken pieces, were like covered in breadcrumbs and all this.
Everything covered in breadcrumbs.
Like, vegetarian, get the breadcrumbs. Sausage, get the bread. You know what I mean? It was
and also vegetarian. Let's pump it full of potatoes.
Yeah, 100%. But I mean, vegetarianism was not even that it was always big, but like more people, like it's developed, hasn't it? And especially now vegans come along, like there's so many companies out there that are doing that have been able just to develop recipes over time. So actually, some of the things, like there's some things that we have, as is not very good for like meat-free stuff. It's probably one of the worst. But Sainsbury's are really good. But some of the tempeh, is that how you say it?
Yeah, tempeh.
Tempeh pieces are brilliant. Like the chicken, like I'm gonna have to find it and we'll post it to a story or something. But there's like some roast chicken pieces, and they taste better than actual roast chicken pieces. Like I've only ever seen them in Sainsbury's.
Which brand is it? Is it the Fry's Food?
I can't remember. I'll have a look. But also like the shawarma, the meat-free shawarma is insane, but it's not high carb at all, and so low calorie. Like it's such a good option.
Yeah.
Eaters.
Especially if you are looking for more higher protein, lower fat, because people do this diet a lot differently.
Naked Glory.
Oh, Naked Glory. Okay.
So Naked Glory do a whole range of like.
Let's try that.
Different like chicken like flavors, but the roast chicken one is insane. Really good.
What was I saying?
Sorry, yeah, it's a really good option now for it's done differently, isn't it?
Yeah. So whereas people would want to be doing that really high fat, sometimes like you don't want to do that. And also having a high fat diet, if you're already predisposed to gallstones, is not a good idea.
No, definitely not. Like I've noticed that I've definitely been a lot lower fat. This like when I first did keto, it's a very similar story to Ash, like burger without the bun. Like I remember most nights, because I was also always on the go, it would literally be McDonald's 2 double cheeseburgers without the buns, boom, sorted. And I would have I remember for breakfast, like, okay, I'll walk you through like a day in my first like go at keto. I'd have like 3 eggs scrambled with double cream in it and cheese. I'd have like 2 pieces of bacon and then like a sausage or 2. That would be breakfast, and I'd actually take it to Tupperware to work for me to have after the gym in the morning. Lunch would be like chicken fajita loaded with cheese, and then dinner would be, like I say, like cheeseburgers or something. And I lost 10 kilograms in 4 weeks. It was mental, but I was also so active. Like it worked, but I continue that. Like I know now, that is just not. It doesn't appeal to me. Like I couldn't eat like that now.
Yeah, and I find that for me, like meat always slowed me down, and made me feel quite sluggish, and so did dairy actually. But and it flared up my my like skin condition. So when I kind of cut all those out, it was amazing. Like I felt so much better because I wasn't having that inflammation all the time.
That's insane. Does it just go to show like the way that we eat, like if you're feeling unwell, just the way that we eat can actually solve so many things. Like it's not going to solve everything, but most things, like day-to-day things, it just fixes.
Obviously when you're at like a higher weight bracket, you do find that you have you have issues like with hormones, so having less meat in your diet is obviously going to lower any like kind of background hormones that you would get from that meat, depending on obviously where you're having it raised and what kind of quality it is. But for instance, if you're going to Aldi or if you're going for the basic meat, like it is going to have other properties in it that might not be good for your body.
Antibiotics and all that good stuff.
Especially if we have like American food standards by the end of 2021. That's what Brexit gets. But
you know what? I've completely forgotten all about Brexit until we started watching Gogglebox like a couple of days ago, and the Gogglebox, which has been put onto Netflix, is literally just all around, like it started around the time of Brexit. So.
I think there's so many new options, and I think there's so many ways to eat out and still kind of stay on track. Something that we didn't talk about was coffee orders and how they've adjusted.
I'm really bad because I still have I go to Neo and have a coconut latte, which is like still quite high in carbs. So like me personally, I'm not like mega low carbs. So
she's a fraud, everyone. Get her.
Like how much I could, like most of the time I do weight training, so like I can get away with having 50-ish grams of carb, like between 50 and 100 grams of carbs a day. Like a lot of the time I'm 20 to 30 grams because that's just naturally how I eat. But yeah, I can have like coffees and things. Like I'm sat here drinking oat milk in my tea. But yeah, so I order coconut milk latte with sugar-free hazelnut. That is my go-to coffee order in Nero. But I also absolutely love their ice brew. Any cold brew with double cream or pouring cream and a syrup. It's got to have a skinny syrup in it, I think. I don't think I can.
Do you know what? I actually take little, the travel shampoo and the travel conditioner. I will take those, but they've got a skinny syrup in them.
Jack just takes the whole frigging bottle. He's no shame. Genuinely, in his bag, he'll just put the whole bottle. He's like, that's like 50p a time. So he used to work every single morning. He used to work in Costa or somewhere, so it adds up for him.
Yeah, of course.
What's your coffee order? What's your go-to at home?
I'd say, well, at home, obviously, I have a bit more freedom. I make normally like a latte with almond milk or the Califia Farms oat barista one, because that is really good. It's in the dark blue packet, and obviously I put that in my little frother, which I got from Aldi, which is a dupe for the Nespresso one, a very cheap dupe, and also has a 2-year guarantee, which I really like because I happen to break things a lot. But yeah, so I'll do like a latte with that, a little bit of skinny syrup. I do like the caramel creme brulee one. That is a go-to. And I know you're all about that caramel caramel pecan.
Ooh, yeah, do you know, I can't get any anywhere and just stressing out.
You not just buy it off the website?
It's like double the price. It's expensive. It's like I think it's £4 in TK Maxx, and it's £6 to £8 then shipping. Like we bought it in lockdown, so absolutely desperate. We bought it from Gym Stop, which I think they did it for £6. 6 bottles. But I pushed the boat out this time, and I got 2 new syrups, one of which has just been poured down the drain because it was vile.
Which one?
I already knew. I knew I was going to hate it.
Was it the cinnamon?
No, it wasn't a skinny syrup. It was actually.
Oh, it wasn't.
So it was from what is it? The Skinny Food Co.
Oh, I mean, should have been a red flag right there.
You know what? It was, and I've seen them post in Food Hub, and I'm like, okay, this could be a little bit different. And I think it was Kel's. She had I want to say she had the caramel version of it, and she tried it and she said it was really good. And I tried the biscuit. Like I bought it after, like before I'd already seen her post. But the biscuit one, I was like, oh, is this going to be like a Lotus? Like this has got potential. And it ruined my whole coffee. I was devastated. It just tasted like, we all know, like all of this is like chemical. And Jack actually just opened it and had a whiff at the bottom. It was like, oh, like it's got such a stench. But when I actually looked at the ingredients, like it wasn't that bad. Like I didn't have is it maltitol? I always pronounce it. Yeah, I didn't have. I was expecting it to have that, and I was like, okay, it's not. I'll give it a whirl. Horrendous. So yeah, just avoid at all costs. But
it's not a fan.
No, like I say, I didn't think it was, but you know, when desperate times call desperate measures, and I was like, it's a massive. It tastes like Lotus. When I was off keto, there was a place in Sheffield that did a biscotti a biscotti, which is basically like Biscoff spread melted in espresso and then topped up with milk. And it was honestly the best drink I've ever had. And I was like, if this syrup tastes like that, bingo. But yeah, it was a bitter letdown. We've got
otherwise I'll just have like an Americano.
Do you know, I really struggle to drink black coffee. Like, I can do it.
I can't do it in the morning because it like burns my stomach a bit and then I feel really sick. But like later in the day, it's fine. Like, or if you have it with food, it's fine. Because often, like, if you go to like a diner, then you'll just have like coffee with some sweetener. But no, and like I can have a bit of almond milk or I can have a bit of soy milk, but the ones that they use in Costa are the higher carb ones. And if you're not pouring it yourself, then, you know, if you're being quite strict, it's quite hard.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think that's the same in Starbucks or anywhere where they're doing the pouring cream. If you're trying to track your calories, that's really hard if you don't see them pouring it in. I think Sugar Free Brie did a post about this where she posted like side by side different Starbucks, and she was like, this one's got 500 in because I didn't pour it in myself, and this one's got like 130 in. I'm like, well, there you go.
Yeah, I do know what, I've never even thought about that, because like Costa used to, whenever I used to ask for pouring cream, they always used to put it in like a little pot next to you. But yeah, I guess you don't know how much is in what. And I guess that's the risk, isn't it? Like, if you really want to play it safe, take your own, make your own.
Or ask for it on the side and then you can pour it in, obviously.
And I think one of the safest ones, like, if you can't drink like just black coffee, is something like a cortado, which basically has such little milk in that it just can't possibly affect your progress. So like one of the smaller drinks with milk. I
think we're so used to having like the largest of everything. So now when I go out, I don't have a large coffee. I might have like a large iced coffee because a lot of it is ice. And if you have like a cold brew, then, you know, that's a concentrate. You kind of need to balance it out with the ice. But I'll often have a small hot coffee instead of like a massive one. Yeah.
I always have, like, usually if I go to Costa, and I know a lot of people don't like Costa. Costa is actually the thing that got me into coffee. So Costa will always have a place in my heart. It's always my backup to Nero. Like Costa, I usually have like a medium. But Nero's large is like a Costa medium.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Go big, boys.
Yeah, at Starbucks, I'll never have like a massive coffee anymore.
So here's the controversial thing. I really like Starbucks. I really, really, to the point where I used to have a free Starbucks every week through my insurance, and I couldn't do it. Like when I first started out on it, it was okay, and then the blonde bros came, and it was, you know, kind of got better. But it got to the point where, like, week after week, and this is like both me and Jack, like we'd get our lattes and we'd start drinking it, and it's like, this just tastes horrible. I don't know if it's the syrup or like their syrup definitely tastes more chemically.
Yeah, and it actually differs between countries as well, because the American ones are really good, but I don't know if there's a banned ingredient in those ones that might not, like there's obviously banned in the UK but isn't banned in the US, and that's why the taste is different, but they still have to provide it.
That's a really good point. But the one thing that I will do before I completely, you know, shun Starbucks is try the cold brew, just for you. Because
just for me, the nitro cold brew is so good.
I'm going to try it. I've just not really been near a Starbucks. Like it's either I don't see them or I've actually just not been close to it. Locked out the bad memories and just never see them.
That's it. They're gone.
No more. I think it's really hard to eat out in coffee shops though. So like
for sure, yeah.
Especially when we were without Wi-Fi for like 2-3 weeks. So a lot of the time we're working and like Nero is probably one of the few places where there's literally nothing to eat other than soup. Like the only thing that you can have there really is tomato soup, or I can't remember what the other soup is. So just kind of skip it. But I think Yeah. Pass on eating coffee shops. They do sometimes do like really nice dark chocolate though. Like Nero have this incredible dark chocolate with hazelnut. It is delicious. And they also do a milk chocolate one with something in. I can't remember what's in it. It's almost like a milk. And actually the carbs are not that bad at all. So we'll share a bar between us, and it's like 9 grams of carbs each, which is an okay treat.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is the thing, like, they're also based around high sugar and high starch, or bread or wraps, or unless you get a salad from the coffee shop, which, you know, few and far between.
Yeah, I think the best place, like if you want coffee, if you want an actual coffee shop and place and somewhere to eat, it's got to be Pret. Pret salad here. Like we used to do, we used to be volunteers for Olio, which is like the food waste app. And we used to go and collect all of the like leftover sandwiches and salads, and then list them, and people come. But we obviously got like a load of salads out of them ourselves, and their salmon protein box and chef's chicken salads were just out of this world good.
No, I love that. I used to go there all the time. Like, their coffee is decent as well. It's not that expensive. No. So we would just get that.
The thing to watch out for, though, in the coffees is they do coconut milk, but it's coconut milk. Stacey found that out.
Yeah, it's really high.
Not good.
Not good. So obviously, like, we've just been talking about the sugar-free sweeteners, and I think it might be a really good like point to touch on about sweeteners in general, and how like there's obviously things to watch out for when you're starting, and maybe things that you might be reluctant to try but are actually fine, and they don't affect us, but you know, so do what you do what you want to do, but maybe just some like a few product recommendations.
But if you're like for sugar-free replacements, if you're starting,
yeah. Obviously, skinny syrups for cough syrup.
Yes, I think that's like really the only thing that I've ever really bought as a sugar replacement, because I never had sugar day to day. The other thing, and again, it is another skinny syrup, is the My Protein flavor drops.
Yeah, they're good.
Huge punch. Like you literally need 1 drop, and that's it for flavor. I don't think they're very good in coffee. Like I think
no. I've had them in yogurt, so I put them in my 0 carb soy yogurt.
Yeah, and I think if you're gonna go down the route of protein shakes and stuff, like they are just banging. Because I've never really enjoyed protein shakes. Like I don't bother with them anyway. I think but like me personally, they're a bit of a waste of time. But when I used to have them, like some toffee flavor drops from My Protein just made it really, really tolerable, really drinkable.
I think like with those flavour drops as well, they do, as I say, like they pack quite a lot of punch, and you can use them in so many different things. And they're almost like an essence, but it just hasn't got the sugar in it, which is really great, because obviously when you're using essences from the store, they're normally glucose syrup based. So if you're using a lot, then you're kind of done. But no, I would agree with that definitely. But on the protein shake side, like, sometimes there are going to be days where you don't get enough protein in, especially if you're plant-based. So protein shakes can be really good, but don't use them as replacements.
Yeah, I completely agree on that, because I think that's literally what they are for. They are a supplement. So if you are struggling to get in the nutrients that you need from your main diet, like that's when you call on those. And that's like almost, like personally, I think that's like almost a last resort, because plant-based, it obviously is a lot more difficult.
Yeah, it absolutely can be done, but there are some days where I just don't want, you know.
It's easier, isn't it? Like it's just so much easier just to go on a shake. But if you like, when you can eat meat and eggs, it's so much easier to get that in. And I would really recommend like trying to change up your diet and just have a look and see where you can have some extra protein. Even just like a couple of boiled eggs can go a long way before going down the road of protein shakes. And that's pure. And I think just purely me, like I feel like I always want to say like a waste of money, But that's just like how I've seen them, because I've never really had that much benefit. But I genuinely understand that there is benefit and use of them.
Yeah, completely. And I think a lot of people are kind of scared of soy as well, whereas they shouldn't be, because it's a really good source of a full protein.
100%. The nicest protein shake I ever had was a vegan one, actually, from bulk powders.
Yeah, that one's really good.
That is the nicest tasting, like most tolerable one, because I don't like milkshakes. I hate milkshakes. And it's like Slim Fast sent me the keto shakes to try, and they taste nice. They remind me of like protein powder, so I struggled to drink them. But yeah, they're I forgot what I was going to say there, to be honest. What my trainer thought.
The bulk powders was good in general.
Let's just leave it at that. The bulk powders taste really, really nice.
Yeah.
I guess other things when you're starting, electrolytes, and I know that's not like sugar replacement.
No, but it's kind of like almost a starter pack.
Even if you're not starting but have been on keto but haven't like heard of these things, like these are just some staples, I think, that all of us agree on.
I mean, definitely, I've bought like the bottles of the Electrolyte Plus from, is it My Vitamins or My Protein? They're the same thing, and there's a load of discount codes that you can get from other influencers, I'm sure.
And as well, like, there's this really lovely girl that I've met on Instagram called Mary, and she's not keto, but she saw me talking around like My Vitamins and some of the things that I've been taking. She jumped on and had some, like, I think she took vitamin K and a couple of other things. She literally just sent me a message this morning saying, like, thank you so much for the recommendation. Like, it's just completely changed. Just helped her out, basically. Like, something that she was struggling with, like, it's just completely changed. It's completely made it better for her. So I was just like, and she was just saying, like, every day, more energy, more everything. And I was like, it's just so lovely.
That's so great.
It's good to hear things like that. So I was very like multivitamins, because I've heard all the, people saying that it's just expensive. Use it out, especially if you get like the cheap ones that are full of fillers. But actually, I think a good multivitamin, especially from like My Vitamin or My Protein, like can really go a long way just to making sure you're topped up.
Yeah, and especially, as I said, even if you're not starting out, but you haven't been tracking like your micronutrients, you might be low in something that you didn't realise. And the units of like what you need aren't specific to every person. Like you might need double the vitamins of like a specific one than someone else does.
And like some of the other things that I've not been as consistent. Like I bought a load of vitamins and I need to actually like sit and read what they're all for. But the other one that I've tried and has been working really well for me is it Digestimax? Yeah. So definitely they can go a long way for making everyday life a lot nicer, let's say. And
some days where I don't have coffee, for instance, then I might take like an L-theanine, or I might take one of the, it's like the pre-workout ones, but it's just caffeine and L-theanine and a couple of other things. Like I might just take that instead, because there's some days where you just, you don't really want a coffee, you don't really want that.
Just don't need. I mean, it's a dull day when you don't want coffee, but it happens.
it happens just like, do you know what? It's actually really strange. It happens depending on what day of my cycle I'm in. Yeah, it's like, because if I wake up and I'm nauseous, then the last thing I want to do is like down a cup of coffee.